This is probably going to be my last video for the night. This video is going to be titled Taking Responsibility and Moving Forward. Now, sometimes I tell you guys stories and certain experiences that I've had. And I hope you all understand I'm not saying these things as a bash toward anyone, out of anger, out of bitterness, out of I don't even know any other words to use at this point, because I'm not saying these things. Sometimes they're funny to me, but I'm not just saying these things to vent or get anything off my chest. I don't need to get anything off my chest. I don't need to vent. I'm telling you all these things because I'm sure you all have had similar experiences that you've never spoken of. Because I was like that until a lot of these guys would start telling me certain things, and I was like, damn, the same thing happened to me before, but I wouldn't say it. But I'm saying these things so you know that I've experienced what I'm discussing. I'm not just saying something that I read in a book or somewhere. Now, I made a video maybe a week or so ago, a few days ago, about moving forward and not looking back. And that's what this video is going to be about. Now, today, for about a year or so, I've been saying I was going to create a limited liability company, an LLC. I hadn't done it. I was holding off. Me and one of my business partners at the time, we had an LLC. We dissolved it. I said I was going to make one on my own. I didn't. And today I finally went ahead and finished that task. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Now, the reason I didn't make it was because I didn't have to. I was continuing to make money and, run my business without an LLC. But at this point, to be more efficient, I have decided that it's best that I have an LLC. I'm most likely going to end up creating multiple LLCs, but at this time I've got one. Once I, start adding information and create a website, I'll tell you guys about it, just so you know. And if you have any questions about putting one together, maybe I can give you some information, but I need to get more experience first. I've got certain goals. My goal this year is to make $30K per month consecutively for 3 months, and then to just boost up from there. So I'm planning on going into commercial real estate this year. I'm not trying to wait until 2021. 2020 is when I plan on going into commercial real estate. Right now I deal with residential real estate, which is great, but I'm just building my business up and moving forward. I've come up with a way that's revolutionized what I do. So I actually don't need someone to work for me or really work with me. I have a few connects that I can use to get things done without any issues. So once I scale things up to $30K per month for like 3 months consecutively, then I'm going to bring in someone to assist me, because at that point I'll be ready to scale it up to $60K per month. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I'll give you guys more information once I have succeeded and reached the goal that I've set. But what does moving on and taking responsibility mean? This is what it means. In my life, a lot of other people have created ups and downs and turmoil that caused problems for me that I had to work through. But in the end, as an adult, or when I became an adult, I had to set all those things aside, because, as I said before, life came at me fast. I was not, no one taught me how to be an adult. I had to learn on my own. So I had to put aside the nonsense that other people had handed me to carry around, and I had to grow up. And I had to take responsibility for my actions, which I do unto this day. So I want you all to, especially you younger guys out there, be very careful about blaming people about things that have happened in your life. Be very careful about not taking full responsibility and ownership of being stuck at a job you don't want to be at, being in a university you don't want to be at, being stuck in a house or an apartment or somewhere with people, family, friends, relatives, enemies that you don't want to be with, being out of shape or being underweight or being whatever it is that you want to change in your life. I want you to know that you must take responsibility for your choices. Oftentimes, sometimes it seems like a hard thing to do, but once you take responsibility for your choices, you can easily change them, even if you go one choice at a time. For instance, when I was younger, and even now, but when I was younger, what happened to me oftentimes was I would run into the same wall over and over again. I would make the same mistakes. I would make the same bad decisions over and over again. Example, once when I was younger, I was making about $30,000 a year, right? Or 31, 30, something like that, $34,000 a year. And I had a studio apartment that was $400 a month. I got a raise after about 2 years, and I was making $60,000 or $65,000 a year. This is what I did. I went out and bought an apartment that was $720, and rented an apartment that was $725 a month, away from the $400 a month. So basically, an apartment that was almost twice as much as the one that I had. An apartment where my utilities in the wintertime up north were $670 per month. That's right. My utility bill was almost as much as my rent. I didn't pay the shit, but that's almost how much it was. I made arrangements for that. And I bought a new car. I started going out all the time, buying drinks for me, other people, eating out all the time, just hanging out. And before I knew it, I was in a situation where I had how should I say it? I had more money when I was making less money, and I had less money when I was making more money. It seemed like I was broke all the time. So I started overdrafting my checking account. So I would pull out, I would get paid every 2 weeks, and I would be broke about on day 9 of 14 days. So I would go pull out $500, and I would say, oh, well, all I got to do is pay $100 or $150 for this $500, and I'll just keep this for the next 4 or 5 days until I get paid. But that's never how it went, because I would pull out $500. It would be like $100 charge additional, which would be $600. And then, I would have other stuff coming out of the account that was pending later. So I would end up paying $36 for a $2 charge, an additional $36 for a $5 charge. So in the end, I was probably paying $1,500 for $500. Okay? Now, that being said, to say, I did that consecutively for about 3 or 4 months, until one day I had to wrangle it in and say, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. I make more money than I ever made in my life at that time, and I'm broker than ever. I never have any money. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like, and the way I thought of it was is someone, hitting my account? Am I not getting paid on time? So I took all of my bank statements, my debit card statements, my credit card statements, my expenses. I started going over the things that I was spending money on. And I realized I was just swiping my debit card like it belonged to, I don't know, the royal family or something. I was just swiping. I didn't think about how much money I was going to have to later. It didn't matter. I could just overdraft. I was in that cycle over and over again, until one day I woke up and I said, no more. I was in some relationships when I was younger. I would think things like, oh, does this girl love me? Does she care about me? I care about her. I want to move forward. I want to get serious. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the times they didn't, until I no longer wanted to be serious and I no longer wanted to move forward. Then a lot of the times those females suddenly, they just had to be up underneath me in my life. I couldn't get rid of them. I noticed that on 2 or 3 separate occasions. Now, once you get older, you just don't give a damn about people like that. You can take them or leave them. A lot of times I'd rather just chill by myself. So all that being said, to say, I had to start taking responsibility of my actions. Once I began to actually take responsibility of my actions, it was so easy to change things. I turned my finances around. I turned my living condition around. I turned my job around. Now I'm an entrepreneur and I own my own business. I moved out of the U-fucking-S. Okay, I left the U.S. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking, I'm tired of the U.S. I'm tired of all the games and all the little racist shit. Just the playing of games that goes on. All the the smoke screen that they're always putting up and being followed around by cops when you're trying to drive and shit. I just got tired of that shit. But rather than, complaining and just saying, and it's okay to complain because that's the beginning of a resolution. Never let anyone tell you you shouldn't complain. You absolutely should complain. That's the beginning of a resolution and the beginning of a change, the complaint. That's what starts everything. The problem is if you continue complaining without taking action. The complaint is the beginning of the action that must be taken. So it's not a problem to complain. So I was feeling some type of way. And one day I said, you know what? Fuck the U.S. I'm leaving the U.S. I was no longer interested in the complaint of the U.S. I said, hell, if I don't like it, then what the fuck am I doing here? And I left just like that. But again, that started with a complaint. I didn't like the way things were going in the U.S. Some of the things I experienced, I did not like. And I said, you know what? Fuck the U.S. So after that complaint, I took action and I moved forward. Now I live in a place where my money goes 3 to 4 times further. So I'm not stressed. I don't have to be up against the wire. I don't have to be out here with this, that, and the third. Where I live, there's a metro. I don't have to have a car. There's a lot of taxis. So I made a decision that was sound when it comes to my own finances and my own personal enjoyment and happiness. And I really do enjoy every day of my life. I'm not making that up. Things happen here. People have issues. I run into a few things I don't like. But other than that, I have a really great time where I live. I'm living life right now. I run my own business, but I still consider myself retired because what I do, I enjoy doing. I don't feel like it's work. There's been times where I've had to drag myself out of the bed and do things, you know what I'm saying? But I realize something. As long as you put action to your intentions, as long as you put action to your goals, you can't fail. You must win. Winning is the only option. Success is the only option. Just this past couple of weeks, I put in 10% of what I should have. I should have put in 100%. I put in about 10% and I still closed the deal with that 10%. So that's giving me the boost because I took January off. I took about a month off. So that's giving me the boost to just put in as much as possible so I can receive or get the return of as much as possible. So all this being said to say, I just want you guys to take responsibility for whatever situation you're in right now. Also, look at the things that you appreciate about the situation you're in right now. Don't just look at the negatives, because don't allow the negatives to outweigh the positives or the great things in your life. But take a moment, take stock, look at your finances, look at your life, look at your level of happiness, and always put your own mental sanity first. As a man, you have the Most High is going to be ahead of all things in my life. But when it comes to humans, I'm number one. You have to put yourself as number one at all times, because when you don't, you might make a mistake. Okay? All that being said to say, if you're not enjoying every day, loving life every day, you have to sit down. You can't blame it on your job or the people around you or, this matriarchal behavior that you see, because that shit is fucking draining and depressing. But you can't blame it on the people around you, because you are a star in your own galaxy. So you can remove the people that are around you. If they're preventing you from shining in that galaxy, you can easily remove them completely. If anyone doesn't want you to succeed, or they're trying to stand in the way or hinder you from your success, remove them. As a man, you must understand, the Most High has given you the ability of a God. You can literally create whatever you choose to. So you have to create a space that's conducive to your mental clarity, to your physical health, to your happiness and your joy. You don't have to be sad and depressed every day. You got to come up out of that. Even if that means you need to leave the country you're in right now. Even if you just go for the weekend, it doesn't matter. Get a passport, get the hell out. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Just sometimes you got to get out of certain situations to see life from a different standpoint. You know what I mean? So all that being said to say, if you're happy where you are, take responsibility for that and know that you and the work that you put in and your thoughts created that joy and happiness, and that you can keep that going at all times, that you have the power to create a paradise for yourself in life. So once again, just reminding you all, whatever's going on, if things aren't going your way right now, stand up today and say you have the keys to life. Don't let life drive you. Life is not a driver. You're the driver. You drive life around. Don't let life drive you. Life will drive you crazy if you let it drive you. You got to put life in the passenger seat or put his ass in the back seat sometimes. Or you can leave his ass at home sometimes and go on about your business. But I'm just telling you, you have to be the one that runs things. Eres tú que manda. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the one that runs things. You are in full control, and once you realize that, you can fully change your destiny. So whatever mistakes you make, whatever right choices you make, take responsibility for that, and enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. All right.